All right, cyber traders, good afternoon and welcome on back here this Thursday, April Fool's Day, I should say, April 1st, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Probably wake a few of us up live inside our trading room. Great to see Michael and Lori, loud and clear from them both, at least. Gary as well, great to see him. All right, there we go. Here's everybody else. Kathleen, Michael, Ellen, Toe, Norman, Jerry. Great to see you both as well. Perfect. All right, so without further ado, let's hop into it. And might I say welcome on back for all of us joining us live on Facebook Live and YouTube, like Scott here on YouTube here. Scott H, welcome back. Hey, heading into this afternoon, I was going to copy and paste the news anyway for UXIN because we didn't really see the news headline when I did the morning meeting. You know, at 9 o'clock this morning when I ended up subbing in for Fausto and doing the morning meeting, we didn't see the headline on this stock. It ended up making a really nice push after the market opened. So I'm just going to copy and paste really quickly right here. No, we don't really trade this stock directly because of the news. We're not going to throw a dart on the wall and hope it lands. But, you know, it's the news that allowed this stock to gain some more interest from other traders. And once we happen to see, you know, a big breakthrough resistance or support or, you know, just a lot of volume getting filled after the market opens, that will provide us a better opportunity. So really quick, because this stock's moving right now, if you're in this position, I want you to be managing your stock as I speak. And, you know, really, if you're trying to get in this stock, I want to go quick so you have a chance to make some money too. Once the market opened, this ended up making a bit of a slingshot, as we call it, ended up kind of consolidating and pulled back towards 120-ish and then took off from there. So really the resistance levels to watch on this trade throughout the day were 150, 165 actually of all price levels, roughly 165. I think if I'm not mistaken, 163, roughly the dip point before it ended up just taking off here. So outside of those, well, 180. 180, there was a huge resistance on the ask earlier today heading into the late morning. I don't remember the size. I'm just looking for my bookmap graphic here. I'll actually copy and paste that at least for all of us live inside the room. You know, we ended up seeing a really big resistance off 180, and although it broke above it, it ended up coming right back down shortly after. And, you know, here we are again to see the stock make a second big move up into the close. Especially after it already dumped off pretty nicely from the early afternoon. It's hard to expect this stock to make like a really big squeeze up higher before the close. You know, perhaps by the end of the day, maybe in the after hours, we see this make, you know, the faster, more volatile move with there being less volume for that to break through on the ask. So, you know, maybe best case scenario is this goes up to 2, maybe a false breakout from 2, comes back down. That's probably what I would be expecting on this trade if the stars align. If you get any more, God bless. But otherwise, you know, really nice push here, and we'll see where it goes. So for right now, the UXIN trade easily going to put on the top of our watch list, and probably will stay there probably by the end of it. All right, so with that in mind, though, I mean, the other runner that we ended up catching throughout the late morning, the early afternoon, the ACY stock. And, you know, this one ended up taking me for a bit of a surprise in the sense of this squeeze throughout the late morning, like I had said. But, you know, we saw this stock going back into the end of last year. I just remember this, the pop and drop. I mean, it's hard to forget this type of move, right? Like you don't remember it exactly, but you remember, oh, ACY, very low float stock. History repeats itself. You know, it ended up making a big pre-market pop this day. This is what I was more so commenting on when I was doing the meeting this morning. You know, same thing. So for right now, this stock has had an extremely nice run, you know, run up today. Let's count the halts actually while we're at it. My TradeStation platform gives me a good ability to kind of see the halts throughout the morning. So let's just count. We got 1, 2, 3. This is a 4. This is a down halt here, number 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 down halt here. Normally, I would say when a stock gets halted on the way down, that's like game over. It's a wrap. I guess, you know, this is kind of the rarity. Number 10 right here. And let's see what else we got. Anything else? Any other halts so far throughout the day? Stock's been halted 10 times today. That's crazy. Probably making an 11th once it ends up really diving back down here heading into the close. 15 was a really big resistance. You know, I always like to semi-joke with this, let's say. I mean, it's not fully joking around, but there's a reason why we call this the watch list, right? The morning watch list, the afternoon watch list here. It's not as if we're going to throw a dart on the wall for this one and hope it lands. We're going to watch it. We'll put this on our list. You know, in a rare case to see this squeeze up even higher into the close, you know, it'd be pretty interesting to watch and probably just study to see, you know, what to expect the next time a low float runner like makes a move like this. You know, but otherwise, I'm not really that jumpy to trade it. So I'll put this on our watch list, right? Hence watch list there. But yeah, I feel like this is just going to begin to dump back down. It is kind of making a higher low off of 12, kind of back to support that was here perhaps. So maybe it does pop, but we'll kind of just watch. A little case study. Let's see what else we got, though, here. Otherwise, we'll go from top to bottom now. We talked about numbers 1 and 3. Actually, really quick, because Jake, live inside YouTube on our stream here, is asking the LTRPB. Try saying that 3 times fast. Is he asking thoughts? Done. This does not look worth our time. This is like ACY, but like even worse. I don't know what the float is on this, but probably less than $1 million. It's not even going to pop up on my scanner here, I don't think. Nope. So I don't even know the float on this Liberty TripAdvisor LTRPB. I thought we traded this stock before. If not this stock, then maybe LTRPA. Yeah, going back into 2020. Again, like you remember these names offhand. So let's see. LT. Did I type that in right? LTRPA. There we go. I think this was the one that we ended up trading at the time. I could be wrong. It could have been the other. I think it was the other. This one actually looks just much more tradable. But yeah, either way, Jake, just yeah, definitely done. I mean, to see a stock squeeze off of that little volume across the morning, afternoon, it would only just continue to dump back down. It's like 40 and under. Ooh, I forgot to do this when I came back. So I was in the office in Syosset, New York earlier today. Went 15 minutes back to my house. Here I am in my home office. But once I ended up resetting up, I forgot to remove all my crazy lines here. So I ended up marking up this UPC chart heading into the open. This, of course, was on our morning watch list. We ended up doing pretty well in pre-market on this after 8 o'clock. And then after the open, we ended up catching this nicely at first. But this stock ended up coming right back down, as you could see, right? So I think it's still shortable from TradeStation. I thought for a couple of us it was hard to borrow. Maybe it was like for like a little bit, but for what goes up comes back down. If you could try and short this stock heading into the afternoon, that might be your better play. Outside of that, I would just say 74 million shares for this stock, where it's like kind of a new IPO or new listing here at least. It's like pretty exhausted. I wouldn't be as keen to, anticipate another run up on this for the close. All right. What else we got here? ESTE. It's near the highs of the day. I ended up missing this one from earlier when I was in commute pretty much. So this ended up making a nice sneak move up, kind of off like super low volume. And you just see like the biggest spike is from the close yesterday, but outside of that, even zooming in here, this whole run up has been super light volume compared to what we normally look to trade. That doesn't mean it has a big spread. Right now, the order book looks pretty decent. So I'm not expecting to find a whole lot of like larger green transactions, larger red transactions, etc. on the tape, provided we're seeing retailers, much smaller traders than that, push the stock up. So for right now, just keep that in mind, but I'll put this on our list, this ESTE trade. Hopefully it maintains this tight spread. All right, we got the MDLY stock. Now we'll just kind of skim through, but I saw Leda call this out earlier off the early afternoon pop. Unfortunately, yeah, this dumped off too. I don't know the amount of halts on this one. Let's see. We'll do another count, another head count here. You got 1. This was where it reopened, so pretty funky reopen here. 2, and that's it. So yeah, this is normally what happens once the stock gets halted on the way down. It is game over. So we can move on from this at least, but that goes to show how crazy that ACY was from this morning, or the early afternoon, to see that get halted or like 2 or 3 times on the way down at least, and to see it continue to fly up shortly after. But that doesn't happen that often at all. All right, we got the SunW stock, Sunworks, right? We're pretty familiar with this trade at least, but not doing a whole lot right now, so probably pass. The SNOA stock, this was one that I put on the watch list, again, kind of hence the name watch list, but it doesn't mean we're going to trade it necessarily. It was kind of dropping off heading into the open. That's what I was most afraid about, and with that, it ended up just continuing to drop off. It was a very choppy move at the least, or at the most, and from there tailed off. You could say the same to be said with this JAGX trade, Jaguar. I pretty much hit this head on. But I put this on our list because we're familiar with the name. It was up off of news. It was up big at the time. Still is up, decent percentage wise, but it was dropping going into the open. And with that, odds tell me that it's gonna likely to continue to drop before it even has a chance of running back up. All right. So how about this? I got a question here. I'm not going to name the member here. Perhaps they're a new trial member joining us here live inside our trading room. But they asked a question that I want to actually just, say for all of us here and just tell you what they had said to me. They said, hello, how do you learn the C2 method? How much time do you have? That's my answer, really, because at the end of it, and my belief is that this person is a new trial member just joining us from today's live event. It's going to take a lot more than just a couple of sentences, a few days for you to actually learn and master any method, let alone ours. It's not to say ours is the fanciest, most advanced, but for anything in life, let alone trading and any strategy of trading, it takes months for you to master the methodology, and not just learning it but really reacting to it all. The fast moving level 3 on my screen, the time and sales programs. And actually, while I'm talking, just take a look, folks. I want to just cut right back to the UXIN stock. It's making its push. Look at this thing go. Run, baby, run. On the way up to 2 as we speak. I'd watch out for that false breakout, though. I'd imagine that thing's going to pop and drop from 2 pretty hard. Is anybody in this trade live inside the Cyber Group? I told you I wanted to move on from this stock quick. I wanted you to be focused on this trade. There's still a few more stocks I got to cut through on the loser side, but Jerry says he got in at $1.83. Excellent, Jerry. Very nice. Right off our coaching session from earlier today. All right. Jerry's the big winner so far. Perhaps a couple of us that will look to post a profit very shortly. They might just be watching the stock, ready to get out and post the trade here. But nonetheless, great job, Jerry. And for anybody else, I'll keep my eyes on the chat. But I definitely anticipate a false breakout over 2 coming up. All right. So with that in mind, let's go to the losers list right now, folks. Don't really have a whole lot else on the gainers end. Maybe SM. Maybe stock that loves to trend nicely. Look at this thing. If you folks go back to an afternoon meeting, I don't remember the day, but if you follow me regularly, then you've heard me talk about this stock. And the one thing that I said was, anytime I see this stock on the percent gainers or losers list for that part too, it's like always on the best trends. This stock is always on like the best trends across the 1 minute chart. It's insane. Probably the last time I said that was back here. Probably rewind back to March 19th. But nonetheless, here we are now. SM, great trade here, taking us into the close. Don getting in at 179. He was in just now, so he was just watching the stock just before. But now the UXIN, false breaking over 2 as we speak. I don't want to jump to it yet because we'll go over the losers list, then we'll cut back to it at the end. But, the UXIN trade's already at 2. So we hop over to the losers list. Bunch of crap that's hard to borrow otherwise near the top. Mavis, as we always like to kind of nickname, Microvision otherwise. Big mover from the afternoon yesterday. So practically by the time we finished up the afternoon meeting, right, like 3 o'clock rolled around, and out of nowhere, we ended up seeing this make a huge pop off of news. This was the huge runner that we caught taking us into the close. News that came out with Microvision, maybe Microsoft partnership or something in lieu of that. I got to jump back on the headline there, but either way, right, it goes to say that we're not going to trade the stock because of the news directly, but we'll certainly become more interested in the trade. But if it provides us a good opportunity to jump in, then we'll take it from there. So it took a couple of breaks over 15, you could see. So we caught it on the way up. We had to lean into it. Didn't really provide much room for a pullback, but once it broke 15 first attempt, it failed. Came back down on the next bar, and then on the following bar thereafter, it broke back above 15 and made its move up from that point. So yeah, the news on this was actually Microsoft winning a U.S. Army contract for augmented reality headsets. And I guess they get some modules or parts from Microvision, this company here, MVIS. That was like the news snippet there. So nonetheless, ended up making a huge move up. Did really well in the trade yesterday, but for what goes up, unfortunately, comes back down. We figured it was going to come back down today, but man, it's still at the lows right now, down 16+%. Perhaps at this point now, we'll begin to see this build some support and move back up. That would be the hope. And if it doesn't squeeze up higher, then if it breaks down even more, it is shortable. So that would be a good opportunity. All right. Let's see what else we got. I want to jump back to that UXIN trade pretty quickly. I'm certainly keeping an eye on it on my other screen. I wish I could, tell you and pat myself on the back that I'm in it, but I'm not. I kind of came right back to my computer about 5 minutes before we started this afternoon broadcast. So normally I would try and be in a trade or something if it was moving well, but I got to reset myself here. So I hope everybody's killing it on that UXIN. To be honest, there's not a whole lot here on the loser side that looks great for the afternoon, or at least a familiar name. Maybe the XL here. We called that out at least from earlier. It was off the lows. Not really too much going on there. Squeezed up a little bit, but I'm going to pass putting this on our list for right now. The E-bond stock, we talked about that during the morning meeting. News came out about a direct offering on that trade. It didn't break down to $6.10, the ADS there, but what else do we have? I think there was one more that came out with, oh, that's right. And you know what? Perhaps I could have just, talked about this to begin the meeting. We're certainly not going to trade this thing going into the close. But holy crap, what happened to this FTFT trade, right? To see it just, kind of metal back down, taking you into the mid to late morning. Maybe, hopeful to see it make another move up going into the afternoon, perhaps. But out of nowhere, I think that was a direct offering as well. Common stock directing a direct, offering of shares, perhaps, ended up just getting killed. Ended up getting halted on the way down. Even opened up, and moved, lower from there, of course. So unfortunately, for the good news that came out on FTFT, this couldn't be any better of an example to show as to why we can't hold on to stocks throughout the day and maybe turn a day trade that you were anticipating on getting in and out of quick and turning that into a swing trade or a day swing, so to say. You never know when news like this could happen. So, don't have hopium. All right. That's the worst drug that you can be on. All right. So with that, I think that's all I got on the losers list here. Let's jump back to the UXIN. It ended up making the false break like I thought. Ended up at least, popping over 2, coming right back down. Don got out right at $2 off the whole number there. Very nice, Don. Great trade. Really nice trade. It's the type of stock at least, right? Even if you didn't do this right now, this is the type of stock that, of course, is cheap, meaning that you could trade more shares of it. It definitely has a very liquid order book. So, although it's making a big move, it's not like a level 5 stock as we would categorize it, level 1 or 2. So, you know what? Hey, even if you didn't trade a lot of shares, on this position, at least you could study from it and you have the confidence to trade more shares perhaps the next time you see something like this make a similar move. That's the best thing that you could do, Don. So really nice trade either way. Look at this thing drop back down now, right? Looking like a wizard getting out at $2 right there. All right, so folks, for YouTube Live, Facebook, for all of us live inside the trading room, let me know if there's any other stocks you would want me to look at, anything popping or dropping that I just didn't have a chance to look at myself. You don't need any other stocks, really. If it's UXIN all day, then I'll take it. I'll be honest, this is probably my second easiest call out of the day, the false breakout from the first attempt here. If it ends up building back up and breaking higher later on or coming up here, then, perhaps you try and take the entry. But, the first attempt of it breaking that 2 or testing 2, you just can't keep expecting it to move up higher and higher. It's up 67+%. So, at some point it's got to reverse or maybe at least pull back a bit. You have another iceberg order on the ask here at $2.10 for right now on the UXIN. Jerry exited this trade right now at 196 live inside Cyber Group. He got 13 cents on the position. Very nice. All right, cool. So, folks, I'll tell you what. Let me just jump to Benzinga Pro really fast, but that will wrap things up for me. Yeah, I got nothing else really here from Benzinga Pro. mean, I'm sure there are some stocks, breaking highs or, trending nicely here, but no real consistent stocks are popping up on my radar. It's fine by me. I'll tell you what, folks. So we'll call it for right now. We only have 5 stocks taking us into the end of the week, right? Keep in mind, tomorrow the markets are closed. We have Good Friday. I hope everybody celebrate. For those that celebrate, I hope that you have a great day. For those that don't, I personally do not. I'll enjoy the day off. I'll relax and have a nice day off myself. I hope that those who celebrate Easter coming up, I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. I do celebrate Easter. I'll be having a nice Italian dinner with that in mind. So, for all of us on social media, make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, as I always like to say, feel free to join us live inside our trading room. Go right down to the link on the banner below to sign up. Oof, a lot of talking today with that in mind. So I'm going to hop back to the trading room right now. I'll be back on actually right around 3:15, 3:30, taking us into the close. Talk to you soon. Take care.